can you say your name for the mics?
Yeah, Maxwell Vivian. I'm a writer and executive producer on Upload Season 4.
Right on.
And if you could also your outlets when asking the question, and I'll type it.
Well, I'm Tessa with Mama's Geeky. I've just got to tell you, you destroyed me with this final season. I was crying through the entire thing. Can you talk about the thought process? I'm going to hold this till the finale airs of really what was delivered here at the end.
Yeah, I think a real key component of this time in the writer's room was giving every idea its time in the sun. So just looking at each character, and we're really looking at our options of, if you do it in this way, if you do it in this way, if you do it in this way, and then it's a matter of like, what feels good, what feels narratively satisfying. If we do this for this character, do we then need to switch this for this character because they feel too similar? And I think some of those debates were going well into post. Like, I don't do post-production on the show, but when I watch the episodes, I'm like, oh, we cut that and did this differently. And I think it honestly works out great. The ending feels really good.
I do want to ask, this was the final season, obviously, but if there was a season 5, what are some ideas that you wanted to explore that you just weren't able to get to?
Oh, man. There is a collection of possibly 10 corkboards full of note cards in Greg's office that were all the ideas that we didn't get to explore. I cannot for the life of me remember any of them. Yeah. Oh gosh, it's been a while for me, unfortunately. But I think like the show not ending for lack of ideas, and with the real world catching up to the things we were joking about so quickly, I don't think we would have had any trouble, coming up with more.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Chris with Saturday Morning Serial. So, your show debuts in May of 2020. Not a lot going on in the world at the time. So, take us through the journey between then and now. I mean, obviously the world has been flipped upside down. So, is in the world of Upload. So, tell me your personal journey going through everything creatively, the creative process with the world as it was and up until now.
Yeah, so I wasn't on season 1. I joined for season 2, but the season 2 room started before season 1 aired. So I'd seen all the episodes; they weren't out yet, and that was kind of the onset of COVID. And it was my first time acting as a writer and a producer on a show. So I was really trying to get my sea legs in terms of like guiding the writers' room when Greg wasn't around, and making sure we're using our time wisely, and all those things. And then COVID hit, and it was like, cool. Now you have to learn to do that on Zoom, which you've never experienced before, and figure that out. And then we were going to go ahead and shoot the episodes in Vancouver, where the show is produced. And I was asked to go to set to supervise, and it was like, cool, another thing I don't know how to do, plus there are all these COVID restrictions that I have to get up to speed on, and all those types of things. So that was primarily for episode 2 and 3. Those are the big hurdles that we faced. And then, between 3 and 4, obviously a couple strikes, which delayed things. We would have gotten started much sooner. And, it seems like every month there's something coming out that, like, we joked about on the show. So it's almost like the world is catching up to you too fast. And you just hope, you've got time to get all your ideas out.
How do you dig better with the LRM Online? How do you prepare yourself to let go of these characters? Let your baby fly.
Oh man, I think you want to do right by them, the characters. Especially Ingrid, one who's gone on such a huge journey from start to finish. So it was really important to just maybe not give the audience in all cases exactly what they wanted, but to give them something that felt narratively satisfying, that would feel, wrapped up.
Hi, Mark I'm also with Saturday Morning Serial. Can you speak about working with this very talented cast and the freedom that it gives you?
Yeah, for me, especially because they joined in season 2, they had already lived in these characters for a minute. So when I went to set for season 2, I was almost like a guest at first, and I was really leaving things in the hands of the actors because they knew these characters a little better than me. As our relationship developed, it became more of a dialogue, and I could say, what about this? And they could say, what about this? And we would come to, some sort of consensus about what was great. But like you said, the cast is super, super talented. They do their homework to a ridiculous degree. And so in the moments where it was between trusting the cast and doing what I thought, they should do, a lot of times it came down to trusting the cast.
Well, coming on in season 2, the ship is already at sea. So you jump aboard. What are some of your proudest moments from there, season 2, 3, or even 4? What are something you look back and go, I did that. I'm really happy that this happened.
One of the funny things is, going from the writer's room to getting on set, I start to forget who pitched what. And by the time the episode comes out, I'm like, was that my joke? Was that my joke? But I would say, my biggest moments for me, the little victories that I really, really celebrated, were the times where I solved problems. Because, you plan out everything. You go through pre-production. You think you've got everything wrapped up in a little bow. You get on set the first day, and it's like, decisions have to be made. Because we didn't think about this, we didn't think about this, we didn't think about this. So decisions have to be made. And so the victories that I hold on to the tightest were the ones where I could say, all right, I know that this is the right thing to do. We're going to do this. We're not going to waste any more time on it. Let's go.
Make the call.
Yeah, and that felt good.
Awesome. I wanted to ask a really quick question about the finale that she brought up. With the very end, why did you guys, because it was a really tragic way to end a lot of that, but you did give a glimmer of hope at the very end. So what was the thought process into leaving audiences with that nugget?
A lot of thought went into that. There were no less than 10 versions of that one scene alone, of different ways that played out. We shot more than one, and then obviously you have options in post to change certain things in certain ways. So, that debate went on and on and on, and a great writer once told me, you write it 3 times, you write it when you write it on set, and you write it again in post-production, and it's just like you have to keep your options open the entire time. And so I think that, that was decided at the very end, and I think that's because looking at the totality of the season up to that point, something might feel more right than something else.
I don't have anything. Go quick.
This is such pressure. Okay, so I will say, ending us with that cliffhanger on the last season, which Nathan was it, and then really the answer we got throughout this season, of course, that it was neither Nathan. Can you talk about the decision to really make sure they both stayed alive through this? Till the end.
I don't think that I can. But what I will say is that we had an idea of how the beginning of season 4 was going to play out, but we got to season 4 and we said, let's go down both roads and see if there's something that we're not thinking about. A ton of thought went into that decision, both in season 3 and season 4.